Hello, welcome to SoundTrap tutorial video number 2. In this video you're going to learn how to drag and drop loops, use the playback controls, learn about tracks, and then learn about dragging loops and positioning them. So you should be signed into your SoundTrap account with your Bowls prep information. Go ahead and scroll down into the My Projects folder and open up the project that we started last time we were in class. You can do that by simply clicking the Studio button. So you should be looking at an empty project just like this one. First thing we have to do is learn how to add loops to our project. We do this by opening up our loop library. A loop is a pre-recorded piece of music and you can use them to arrange and compose new songs. So you click on the purple button here and that brings you to SoundTrap's loop library. There's two ways you can search for loops. You can either search using the tags here, drums, EDM, jazz, piano, guitar, or you can search by name. First thing I want to do is find a drum, and I know there's one that's called Edgy that I like. So you'll see the loops down here. To sample them, you simply click the play button and you'll hear them. To bring them into your composition, you can click and drag, and they'll populate in your composition. Now, a couple of things what we're looking at here. You can see that the loop is playing from left to right. All loops do that. All music does that, just like when we read our music notation in music class. Always plays from left to right, just like SoundTrap does here. You'll notice that SoundTrap is a very visual platform. You can see everything that's happening. At the top part here, this purple bar, this is a repeater. When it's turned on, it simply repeats the section that's highlighted. When it's turned off, you can turn it on and off by clicking on it. It won't repeat that section. Also, you'll see that this is one single track. You have the name of the track over here and a couple of different controls that we'll learn about later on. But you can see in this track you have the actual sound waves that the loop makes, and then you can use the playback controls down here to start, stop, and rewind it. Okay, so that's one of the loops that we're going to use. To add another loop, we have a drum loop. Now I want to add a bass loop. We're going to go to the bass, and we'll do this one. I'm going to drag this loop into a second track down here. Okay, so you can see that I'm layering the tracks on top of one another, and if you stack the loops vertically, then they're able to play at the same time. Sounds like this. Now you might notice that the loops have little indentations at the top and bottom. To the acute listener, you'll notice that these loops are actually just small repetitions of themselves. So this is a 2-bar idea that's repeated 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And later on we'll learn how to edit the length of that repetition and add more or take away some. But it's good to sort of see that and see how they're lining up in between the two tracks, in between the drum track and the bass track here. The last thing I want to add is a piano part. And it's actually called Go Low Whirly, this guy right here. Now you'll notice that when I drag this into my composition, I'm not allowed to drag it into the drums or the bass track. SoundTrap is telling me that it's the wrong kind of track. So I have to drag it down to a third one, and you'll see why in just a moment. You can see how the piano loop looks different than the bass and the drums loop. Again, SoundTrap is a very visual platform. You can see everything that's going on. The piano loop is actually an AIFF form, which is an acoustic form of recording. The bass and the drums loop are MIDI forms, and you can have them play in the same song, but you cannot have them play on the same track. So let's hear what they sound like together. Great. And it's just that same idea repeated 2 more times. So the last thing I want to show you is how to stagger start your tracks. All you do is you simply find an empty space on the loop, you click, hold, and then drag the loop. And I'm going to do the same thing down here for the piano one. So now I have a staggered start for all of my tracks. You get the idea. What you need to do for SoundTrap tutorial video number 2 checkpoint is you have to make this exact composition using these same 3 loops and staggering them 2 bars apart from each other. Make sure at the end you always click the save button. And that's all you need to do.